Hello, friends. I hope you are having a wonderful week so far. Today, we are going to be talking about low bun wraps. I know that this is not necessarily seasonal. I tend to think of low bun wraps as being more of a summer thing, but I've really been leaning into them lately for a variety of reasons. One of which being just the simplicity of it, and that's kind of the mood that I've been in. Another being, to be perfectly honest, concerns about visually identifying as someone who's Jewish. I find that low bun wraps tend to get less attention than more Jewish looking wraps that I've done, so I have been leaning into that just because it's what I'm feeling safest doing right now. But I realized that I haven't really talked a whole lot on this channel about doing low bun wraps, especially with rectangular scarves. Doing a bun wrap with a square scarf, we all know how that is. I have a couple of videos on it. But yeah, there are so many ways that you can use long wraps to do a similar look, and so that is a lot of what I've been up to lately. So I thought that I would just kind of do a video that is all the low bun wraps that I know that I am doing these days. So in terms of what I have in the way of under wrapping materials, I have the Rapunzel no slip velvet headband, and then I also have one of these perfect poof scrunchies wrapped around my bun in the back. I made a bun with my own hair, and then I put this over top of it. So in terms of scarves, I definitely recommend using thinner scarves. So I'm going to be using a few different ones for this video. So I have here, this is a watercolor 2-in-1. The 2-in-1s are great for this. I have a New York Brights. New York Brights Striped Delights would be fantastic for this. And then so this is one of my favorite scarves from like my favorite scarf video like forever ago. This is the Leaves Them Guessing, and I'm using this one because it like goes with what I'm wearing today. But any lightweight sheer scarf like this should work just fine. I don't recommend necessarily doing any of this with like pashmina type scarves because I think that would probably not work out terribly well. So I am going to start by tying this on my head nice and evenly. So I'm just going to fold down that front a little bit, bring it up. And now one thing that I think can be really neglected in doing wraps like this is that before I tie it, I'm going to put my hands up underneath, and I'm going to make sure, because sometimes with these, with the scrunchies, little bits of it will get pushed further up here. And if you're working with a thin scarf and you're doing that low bun wrap, it can become a little obvious, like you can see the bumps on the outside. So I'm really gonna go around my scrunchie in the back and try to make sure that it is all relatively compact, that I don't have any little bits poking out. That feels really nice and tidy to me. So I am going to tie it in a knot in the back. So now, let's see, do I have one end? They came out pretty evenly, which is what I wanted. But if you do have an end that is a little bit shorter, I recommend picking whichever end that is and wrapping it first, because then it's easier to cover up with the longer side. So now all I'm going to do, this is the absolute simplest bun wrap that I know. I'm going to fold in my edges so that I have something that's relatively narrow. And I'm just going to wrap that up and around, and I'm going to keep going until I run out of scarf. Now, one thing that I am going to do, because once you start getting to the ends here, there's kind of a longer end and a shorter end. And so I'm going to tuck in, let me find where it is. There's my longest point. So I'm gonna kind of fold in the shorter bits. So that way I really just have fringes coming out the end right here and not so much anywhere else. And then I'm going to just tuck all of that in. Okay, And then I'm going to do the same thing on the other side. I'm going to fold in, put a little bit of tension on it, make sure that's looking nice and narrow. And then that also is just going to wrap up and around. Do the same thing once I get it back over here. Take those shorter fringy bits and just kind of tuck them in. Really make sure that I am getting as much length as I can before my fringes start coming into play. And then tuck all of that in. And there you go. There's the simplest bun wrap look, and here it is from the front, from the side, from the back, and the other side. So it really doesn't get a whole lot simpler than that. But I did want to show you one way that you can sort of jazz this up, and I think that the watercolor scarf is a perfect example of how to do this. So I have unwrapped both of my ends, so I now have them here. And then what I'm going to do, let's see, which side do I think is going to demonstrate this better? I think this one is. So this time, when I bring it up, instead of just pushing it all the way to the back here, I'm going to bring it up and around a little bit behind where I first placed the scarf on my head. And I don't want this totally bunched up here. I want to let it out. Let it out, let it down. And I think that this is so nice with the watercolor scarves because you can really get a little bit of extra detailing. And then same thing as before. Once I get to the end here, I'm really going to try and make sure that my fringes are tucked in, tucked away, and sort of just slip that underneath. So you'll notice I kind of have this like little bit of a shelf, which is not a great look, but it doesn't matter because all I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my second tail to cover that up. So just as before, this is going to come up and over, just around the bun portion. And it is going to hide any untidiness that might be happening over the top of my bun in the back there. Same as before, and then just tuck that underneath. And there we have it. And especially with like the watercolors, you can play around with exactly how you place the scarf on your head to make sure that you're getting sort of maximum color show up here. I didn't do that because I already had the scarf on my head and I didn't want to completely remove it. But yeah, it's really pretty. And if you do choose, what you can do, you can place it a little bit more off center, and then the shorter end can be the one that comes up over your head. And as long as it's enough to reach over your head, that's plenty. And then with your longer end, you can use that to secure and hide anything else in the back. So here it is from the front, from the side, back, and the other side. So very simple couple of ways. And, you know, again, both of these wraps will work with any of the scarves that I'm showing today. I just wanted to show a variety of options. So for my next wrap, I am going to turn to the New York Brights. So this is the dark blue New York Brights. I don't know if this is still in stock anymore. I think it might have just gone out of stock because like Rapunzel just had a sale, so most of their New York Brights colors are out of stock presently. But you know, any of them. I only picked this one because it does have a little bit of green in it, so I thought I could make the justification that it went with this dress. And just as before, I am going to place this on my head relatively evenly. And it's up to you if you want to like tuck this front portion underneath. I kind of like it on the New York Brights. Also, same thing, I'm going to be feeling around the back to make sure that my scrunchie hasn't done anything strange. And then tie it in a knot. So I can rehash one of the wraps that I've done before, where you take both sides together. No, I'm going to show that with the next one. Well, I might as well show it here because this has fringes. And what's going on here exactly? All right, even before I start twisting, it's a good reminder, before you start twisting, make sure you're folding in any edges that might be doing anything a little strange or they are likely to pop loose further down the line. So I am just going to give this a real quick rope twist all the way down the length. It is up to you, as loose or as tight as you want this to be, though as previously discussed, the tighter you twist it, the more length you will lose. And then this is going to go up and around, just covering the bun portion. And then I am just going to reach through, pull my tails, and have super cute little twisted bun wrap with a little bit of fringe hanging out. So here it is from the front, from the side, from the back, and the other side. Doesn't get a whole lot quicker or easier than that. And you don't really need to pay super close attention to your fringes because it's kind of an undone, deliberately messy look anyhow. So another thing that I have been doing recently is individual twists. So this is also going to be a little bit more of a like casual, informal look. So I am going to fold in the raw edges there, and then I'm going to start twisting this tail pretty tightly. Not so tight that it's going to want to like curl up on itself. I don't want to go, you know, quite that small, but I do want a nice compact twist. And as before, once I start getting to the end here, I'm going to fold in the shorter fringy bits so that most of my fringe is kind of wrapped up in the scarf itself. And all I have in terms of fringe is just like the tiniest little bit. I really want it minimal as much as I can. And then, whoop, don't let go of your twist though. If you let go of your twist, you're gonna have to do it again. So that's what I'm doing now. Sometimes it just goes like that. Okay. Once you have your twist and you haven't let it go, it is going to go up and around the bun portion, and then I am going to keep going. And so I do end up with a little bit of extra here, and that is going to tuck underneath. I'm not going to super worry, especially about that first one, just because we are now going to be doing the same thing on the other side. So again, if you have any like things that are kind of bulging out, tuck that nonsense in and twist. And I like to do both of my twists in the same direction when I'm doing this, so both clockwise or both counterclockwise, as the case may be. Instead of opposition to one another. There are times when I do want my twists going in opposition, but this is not one of them. And same thing, getting to the end here, really try and bring in the shorter fringe portions. And then this is also going to go just behind the other twist, up and around and around until I have only the littlest bit, and then tuck in. It can be super cute if you let your twists crisscross over one another. I think that's also a really fun look. But this is when I've tried to get them laying as flat as possible. So here it is from the front, from the side, back, and the other side. So that is another way to go with just like individual little skinny twists. I think this is a super cute look. There we go. Sorry, I have a hair like dangling off my sleeve that's been bothering me. That's probably not visible on camera, but I got it. All right. And I am now going to show you, so this is a look that I did for Rapunzel's social media in advance of the recent New York Brights sale that they had. So similar, I always like when I can do a low bun option that also has a V in the back. You know, I love a V, and sometimes it can be hard to get that look with a low bun. So tie it on this time at an angle. And tie a knot. So now, when I bring this up and over, fold in that raw edge there. So what I did for the video was I brought this up like this, and then once I got over here, I gave it a little twist to bring it back down and around. And now if you can tuck that kind of under itself, you really just want to like hold that in place until, similar to the wrap that I showed with the watercolor scarf, this is now going to go around the bun and it's going to conceal any messiness that may have been left. There we go. I think I've got everything tucked in. It feels good. Around and tuck it in. So here is one way to do a low bun wrap that has a V in the front and just a nice, adorable little twist here. So from the front, side, back, and the other side. But you don't have to do the twist. You can do, again, similar to the double layered bun wrap that I did on with the watercolor. You can also just bring this up in a V, let this spread out over the back. And then again, this is going to kind of come up. I'm going to tuck it under just like that. Again, really just want to make sure that I am holding that in place. And then this tail is going to be the one that covers up all of any messiness that is left over in the back. To do some fringe folding. That feels better. And tuck it in. Something's feeling loose. Aha, there we go. Didn't quite get everything. There, that's better. That feels better. Yeah, these can take, when you're doing like the little like shelf cover up, it can take a little bit of fidgeting to make sure that you've got everything and got it nice and smooth and covered, but it does work quite well to get, again, that V shape in the front, but still an overall low bun wrap look. All right, and there we have it. So from the front, side, back, and the other side. So last look, I think this is the last one that I know that I have on my agenda. It's also going to be really, really simple. The only reason I am bothering to show you is so that you know it can be done with a different type of scarf than what I am currently wearing. Goes just double check my headband and my scrunchie in the back. So this is another just really nice option. I wore this to, I was presenting at a conference just yesterday, as a matter of fact, and I wore this wrap, different scarf, same wrap. I think it's really nice for a professional setting, but also not being like too fussy to get out the door with when you have a big day ahead of you. So I folded down to fit my head. I am gonna go around, double check. There we go. This wants to sometimes get a little bit caught on the hair. Right. And tie it in the back. And then similar to the look that I just showed a couple looks ago, this is going to come over to the side, and you can do, I'm going to rope twist them. So again, as loose or as tight as you want it to be. In this case, I do recommend doing it a little bit looser because it leaves you a little bit more to play with when it comes time to tuck in your very edges. So I've done this with wraps that, like this one, have nothing on the ends. I have done it with wraps that have tassels, and that works just fine. Similar though, you're gonna want to, when you start getting like the little shorter bits, you're gonna want to fold those under. Yeah, see, because otherwise this will happen. Stuff like this will pop out. So I'm gonna unwind this just a little bit, and I am going to make sure that my shorter bits are wound underneath so that it looks nice and smooth. Don't be afraid to take the time to really set up your scarf for success before you start twisting it. It will save you time and aggravation further down the line. Okay, so now this is just going to come up and around just the bun portion of my head. I have this one bobby pin underneath that keeps trying to like make a break for it, and I keep having to kind of shove it back in. It's fine, it's fine. All right, so now that I've gotten to the end, I have like my two ends of the scarf. They are a little bit uneven, which is fine, but I am gonna tuck them in one at a time. So this is the shorter end, and I'm just pulling it underneath. And this is one of the reasons that I recommend doing a looser twist. The fluffier that your twist is, the easier it will be to hide these bits. And then similar, this guy. Did I pull that? I did pull that loose. Yep. Okay. Let's see, I had done yesterday where I sort of pulled underneath, and then you can even tuck it like inside the twist. And then this is just going to come right underneath. And there we go. Pretty simple. give it a little bit of a tug to make sure. It's easy sometimes to like pull it more to one side when you're doing that last little bit of tucking. So just give it a little fluff on the one side. And there we have it. Nice and simple rope twisted wrap using one of these. They're usually viscose, but not all of them. I know I took to calling them viscose scarves at some point, which a lot of them are, but you know what I mean. The kind of lightweight, almost sheer, big scarves. So here from the front, from the side, back, and the other side. So that is it. That is every low bun wrap with a long scarf that I currently know that I have been doing lately. I hope that you have time to play around with some of these styles and let me know how that goes. If you do with something thicker, let me know. If you come up with styles of your own, I'd love to hear about it as always. So yeah, until next time, that's a wrap. Thank you so much for watching.